Hey guys, and welcome to my review of the second episode of 11/22/63, entitled The Killing Floor. This episode was written by Quentin Peoples and directed by Fred Toy, who you should be seeing on your screen right now. The interesting thing about Fred Toy was I did a little research on the people behind this episode, primarily the director Fred Toy, and I discovered that he was a director on two of my favorite shows. One of them one of them is in the list of my top five most favorite shows of all time, in Fringe. And the other one that he's done some directing for is another one of my favorite shows, not in my top five favorite shows of all time, at least not yet, is Person of Interest. So I found that interesting, and I also found it interesting that he is in the quote unquote Bad Robot family, which isn't interesting, which is, good in whatever way you describe good can be. The Killing Floor continues the adventure of our intrepid English professor who's on the quest to basically change history and stop the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. But this week's episode really focuses on Jake's will to see if he can change the past, and to see if it really, like his friend Al, played by the brilliant Chris Cooper, said in last week's episode, change the past and see if it really decides to fuck with him. So he tries to prevent the death of one of the entire family of one of the people that he's been teaching in, I guess, what you would call midnight adult classes to get your, high school diploma. As a matter of fact, it's the first guy that we see in the series. This old creepy guy called Earl, which, if you saw my pilot review of, if you saw the last review that I did for the series, you would know that I thought it was a little strange to begin the show like this, and I was saying, why start the show like this? What's the importance of showing this guy first? Well, now that really pays off, and now we see how Henry plays into the plot up to this point. I really enjoyed this episode. Not as much as I did the pilot, but I thought that this episode did a great job of furthering the story of Jake Epping and keeping the tone that they established in the pilot. One particular scene that I did enjoy was when Jake was looking for a place to stay in Lexington, Kentucky, and he found this ultra religious couple just out of town, and for me, it was just funny seeing how people back then in the 50s were ultra religious, and seeing how everybody was convinced that all Hollywood people or all writers were a bunch of communists who wanted to destroy our way of life, or destroy our way of life, or destroy the idea of what people thought life could be like in the 50s. So that was just a kick in the teeth for me. That was um, just a joy to watch. I did think that the character of Frank Dunning was played brilliantly by a good actor in Josh Duhamel. I thought that he brought a level of creepiness and a level of uh, of screen presence that you don't necessarily see in these typical, these typical bullies, these typical, I'm the badass of this town, and I'm uh, basically a big drunken bully who beats on his wife, who treats everyone badly, and who basically doesn't give a shit about anything. I thought that Josh Duhamel did a great job um, in adding what he could into a really a role that we've seen before, and I thought that he brought something new to it by the way that he played it. One particular scene that I enjoyed very much, and that showed how vicious of a man Harry's father was when he decided to take Jake along with his cronies to a slaughterhouse where they make meat for beef or whatever, and him and his cronies decided to show Jake what they affectionately call the killing floor. And once there, they decide to wrangle up this poor cow, and instead of giving him a peaceful death and a humane death, they decide to give Jake a sledgehammer and basically force him to whack the cow over the head with the sledgehammer. Luckily, Jake, is a better man and decides not to, stoop to their level and not to inflict unnecessary violence onto this poor fucking cow, which causes Frank Dunning and his friends to basically call him a fucking coward to his face, and which causes which is immediately followed by Frank showing his viciousness and showing how he basically really doesn't care about life by smashing this cow over the fucking head with this sledgehammer. So I thought that scene did a great job in showing us, the audience, how vicious this character of Frank Dunning was. Was, and I really enjoyed that scene very much, and it was just a great scene to show how disturbed of a man he was, and how vicious of a man the character was. Another scene that I enjoyed very much was a quick scene that featured Jake and the husband of the couple that he was staying with, and when they were eating dinner together, and they were watching some political, I think it was some political coverage of people of someone who was going to run for president. I'm not at all a history buff, so I don't know who was on the TV. maybe it was somebody important. Maybe it's somebody that, once they tell me who it is in the comment section, or if you want to show me up for how dumb and how stupid I am, maybe you'll tell me in the comments, and I go, oh, I know that guy. He did this, 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 and this. But off the cuff, I couldn't tell who they were watching on TV. Anyway, when the woman who imposed her Christian rules on Jake when he first got there leaves the room, I thought that the particular story that her husband tells Jake about the reason why he got a so-called Medal of Bravery for serving in the war. The story that he tells is really, really chilling and really, really off-putting. So I thought that that particular scene really, really was a pleasure to watch and was well acted by a guy. I can't remember his name right now. He's one of those actors that pops up all over the place. He did a great job in the West Wing. He played an FBI agent in the West Wing, and he also played a grieving husband on Grey's Anatomy who ends up, spoiler here for Grey's Anatomy, who ends up shooting up the hospital and shooting the character played by Patrick Dempsey. I just think he's a fantastic actor. I don't know his name because he's one of those guys that you don't necessarily know their names, but you recognize their faces. So I think that he was a fantastic, was a fantastic choice to play this small role in this episode, and the story that he told was off-putting and very chilling. So I liked that scene very much. I also liked the opening of the episode where we see a bunch of kids chasing the younger version of Henry through the woods, and they end up catching him, throwing him down to the ground, holding him down, and spitting in his face, which I thought was very cruel, and it was very effective into showing what kind of childhood Henry had. As a matter of fact, in the next scene, you see him walking through town without his pants on, and he goes into this diner. In the diner, Jake happens to be there, and Jake happens to see his friend Henry as a younger man, which is kind of interesting because Jake, in these first two episodes, is running into a lot of people that he knows the younger versions of, in the past, at least the people who are still alive. So, I I find that somewhat interesting that he's running into a lot of people. And the other thing that I also find very, very interesting and very, very funny is that sometimes in certain situations, Jake isn't really used to being in the past that much yet. So sometimes to talk his way out of situations, he references things from our time that haven't happened yet to get himself out of certain situations, which I find hilariously funny. I also like the fact that in this episode, the character of Frank Dunning really takes Jake under his own wing for some weird example, and in an effort to save Hank's family, Jake basically gives this fake prize package that includes tickets to a local fair and like I think he also included a stay at a hotel near to the place where the fair was going to happen, all in efforts to keep them away from the house the night that Frank's father was going to kill his mother and his sister. So I thought that was a interesting way into meddling into the past. But unfortunately, the past and both Frank Dunning found out what Jake was going to do, and unfortunately kicked his ass, and really, made a point to say, if you come back to this town and if I see you again, I'll fucking kill you. But luckily, that didn't really stop Jake, to the point where he bought a gun and he was waiting outside to stop Frank from supposedly killing his wife. And that's when a character that Jake meets earlier at the bar to try and track down Frank. He meets this shady character who seems to be Frank's friend, but we learn very quickly that Frank has killed someone else in the past 11 years ago, and this character, the person that Frank killed was this character's sister. So, I found it very interesting that Jake wasn't possibly gonna get a chance to change the past because of this character, inexplicably being there, and he could have possibly stopped Jake from changing the future, but luckily he didn't, and Jake changed the future. I won't exactly tell you how he did it. It was a really impressive scene. It was really violent, which I really liked. But it was a really good and an impactful scene, and directed really well. But after that, Jake really feels off-putted and really wants to sort of put that situation out of his mind, and he proceeds to drive out of Holden, Kentucky. But before he can do so, that guy that was at the bar and that guy that tried to stop him, or tried to question him to what the hell he was doing outside of Frank's house, inexplicably finds some way to break into the place that Jake was staying at, and he finds a paper that reads John F. Kennedy killed. So he basically threatens him with a gun and he says, explain this. So I loved that particular scene, and that scene happened to be the last scene of the episode, and it appears that Jake is going to have some explaining to do the next episode, and it appears by the promo next week that Jake is going to have a partner. So I really like the fact that Jake actually is going to have a partner, and a partner in crime in eventually solving the biggest conspiracy of all time, and trying to stop the biggest conspiracy of all time in the assassination of John F. Kennedy. So I can't wait till next week, and it appears that also next week we're going to finally get introduced to the love interest that Jake is going to have in the past, in Miss Dunhill. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I think that we've met her before, but I'm not quite sure. I think we may have met her for a split second in the pilot, but I'm not sure about that. Anyway, like I said, I'm really looking forward to next week's episode, and to see what can possibly go down next, and what can possibly happen to Jake next. Anyway, my overall grade for this episode would have to be an A. I really like where the show's going. I really like that the tone remained the same, and it got better in some points. The creepiness really wasn't there this episode, but I could really overlook that because I really liked the character of Frank Dunning, played by Josh Duhamel again, as I previously said. All in all, I thought that these first two episodes of 11/22/63 were great, and that's why I give this episode, The Killing Floor, an A. Very quickly here, I forgot to mention last week, I gave credit to JJ. I think I gave credit to Stephen King as well for making this show great. But the one person that I forgot to give credit to that deserves all the credit, who actually puts the show together and who actually did the adaptation from Stephen King's book, Bridget Carpenter. I think that she is doing a great job with the show. The first two episodes that she wrote, the first episode that she wrote was great, and I thought it was a great introduction to our storyline, our hero, and the complications of what our hero is going to do. So I think that she's going to do a great job with this series, and I can't wait to see what she does with the series next. Bridget Carpenter also previously wrote on two very successful shows, being one of them being Fire Night Lights and the other one being Parenthood, which are shows that I don't watch on a regular basis, but they're shows that I do tend to watch in the future, and maybe I'll review one of them, or maybe I won't. But I just wanted to give props to Bridget Carpenter for doing a great job with these first two episodes, and I can't wait to see what she's going to do in the future. Wrapping up here, I do want to mention one more thing. This episode was written by a writer by the name of Quentin Peoples, and I thought that with tone, really did some good job. Really did a good job with the character of Frank Epping, really making some creepy scenes, and I really enjoyed the script from a writer's standpoint. So I thought that he did a great job, so I just wanted to give props to him. But wrapping up now, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who watched my review of episode 1. The response that I've gotten, as far as views are concerned, was great, and I couldn't have wished for anything better from you guys. So I appreciate that. And on that same note, if you want to see more videos like this, I would appreciate some likes on this particular video, and if you like the way I review shows, I would appreciate if you could subscribe for more videos like this. But until next time, hopefully next Tuesday, I should have posted this video on Tuesday, but I wasn't able to because I had some stuff to do there with my family. So hopefully my next review for 11/22/63 will be on time and will be uploaded next Tuesday. So if it's a couple days late, be patient with me, but know that I will get it up before the next episode airs on Hulu next Monday. So yeah, again, thank you for watching. If you like what you see, please subscribe. But until next time, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you when I see you.
So much happened here, and so much is about to.